Released in 1999 originally for Windows PC and later in that same year for PlayStation, and in mid-2000 for the SEGA Dreamcast, which is what you're seeing now on screen, and later on in the same year for the Game Boy Color, which Sam will be covering in a separate review. It's Grand Theft Auto 2. Developed once again by DMA Design and published by the newly created publishing house from Dan and Sam Houser, Rockstar Games, and distributed by Take-Two Interactive. The game is set in the retro-futuristic year of 2013 in the city only known as Anywhere, USA. At least according to journal entries found on the website. The city itself is split up into 3 open-world areas: downtown, residential, and industrial. Each with their own distinct gangs ranging from the Yakuza to crazy rednecks, scientists, and plenty more, to the shady Zaibatsu Corporation who are in every area of the city. Every time you complete a mission for a gang, you're rewarded with money and a store multiplier, as well as respect for that gang. Each area has 3 gangs with 3 different respect bars. Depending on who you work for or randomly kill, each bar will raise or go down, which in turn will cause gangs that disrespect you to shoot you on sight, while gangs that respect you will offer you more missions to do. I found the quickest way to increase the multiplier and in turn make more money was to zigzag between the gangs and the respect levels. Once you've reached $1 million, you can proceed to the next area or still stick around to complete more missions or find hidden tokens to unlock different bonus areas. And one little fun fact, the opening live-action cutscene was actually pieced together from an 8-minute short film known as GTA 2, the movie, which features the antics of Claude Speed, presumably the game's playable protagonist. But is the game itself any good? Let's find out first with the good. GTA 2 for the most part improves upon a great deal of things from the first game. The controls in general are a great example of this. The addition of the analog stick makes driving much more easier. But notably, the cars move slower as well in GTA 2, which makes controlling the vehicles with an isometric camera angle much easier. And speaking of the camera, this too has also been slightly improved. Gone is the constant bobbing in and out when moving at high speeds that I had issues with in GTA 1, now it seems to just only very slightly pan out instead when in a vehicle, which once again makes driving much easier. GTA 2 is also much more forgiving than GTA 1 thanks in part to the heart system at the top right of the screen. Gone are the days of instantly dying from a single bullet unless you had body armor, but be warned, the police can still bust you within seconds of being close to you. GTA 2 also has a save system as well, for only a small price of $50,000, which, after some multipliers and doing some jobs, isn't too big of an issue. You'll be able to save your game at the church in the center of each area, allowing you to quit out and reload your game if you so happen to fail a mission. Once again, making GTA 2 a much more forgiving experience than the original game. On the topic of missions, however, I also really enjoyed the respect system. It genuinely makes replaying the game more interesting as you can experiment and work with different gangs throughout each playthrough, while also making the open world seem more tangible. GTA 2 also introduces a few new weapons as well, like this electric thing that zaps people into skeletons. With that said, GTA 2 is still plenty of fun to mindlessly goof around in and cause absolute mayhem. Then to top it all off, throw in some cheat codes to the mix and spawn some Elvis pedestrians, and you're in for a good time. But now let's discuss what's not a good time, with the bad. Now, despite my praise for the driving controls being improved, I really can't say the same for the overall control scheme. It's still pretty horrendous. In the Dreamcast version, you hold down the A button to move and adjust your direction with the analog stick. Very similar to that of the PlayStation version and GTA 1 on PlayStation, but sadly because of this, the on-foot controls are still extremely awkward. The same goes for the shooting. Once again, you may as well just always use the machine gun and spray and pray. But on that note, the flamethrower works well too. As cool as the concept of an open world game was in the 1990s with driving at high speeds, combine this with an isometric camera angle, however, it turns into a high-speed crash and burn. I had plenty of moments where I crashed right into something simply because I couldn't see it coming due to the awful camera scheme. Especially when trying to follow this little pink bastard of an arrow. Once again, GTA 2 has no in-game map system. Instead, every mission, location, or objective is shown to you through these arrows on the screen. Thankfully, there aren't any pesky broken bridges or another island altogether to screw you over this time like in GTA 1, but nonetheless, these arrow markers at times were the bane of my existence and led to much frustration. Then we have the soundtrack and radio side of things. Now, personally, I thought GTA 1 had a pretty decent soundtrack and radio mix, and just like it, once again, GTA 2's soundtrack and radio stations are all in-house produced, and it's okay at best. At its worst, it was extremely irritating. But now it's time for the opinion. GTA 2 for the most part is a pretty competent sequel that improves upon some things, but I feel like not quite enough for it to be considered a truly great game, or even a really good sequel for that matter. And for the most part, it is a bit more playable and friendly to newcomers who may want to take a look at the series' roots, thanks in part to the save system and being more forgiving in general. But now it's time I give the rating.
Everybody watch out when you cross the street. You're in an intersection and you become something me. Everybody watch out when you cross the street. There's cars coming from all over, watch out what you see. Hands in swerving, getting out of traffic. Get out of the way, of course they're coming at you. Dancing, singing in the intersection. Gonna hit Jimmy, kill him.